Croeso chi gyd yma i'r rhaglen o FCTV. Lisa Roberts dwi, sef swyddog technegol ci coch yn gweithio i cyswllt ffermio. Yn ystod yr rhaglen yma, byddwn nhw'n canolbwyntio ar y cyfnod Wyna. Byddwn yn ymweld ac yn dod â'r newyddion diweddara am rhai o'r prosiectau o fewn y Rhwydwaith o'r Ffermydd Arddangos, gan gynnwys lleihau prolapse a mastitis ynghyd asesu safon colostrum yn y ddiadell. Fe awn ŵan i weld non sydd yn ymweld ag un ffarmwr sydd wedi newid ei system i ymdrin â prolapse o fewn y ddiadell.
My name is Non Williams and I work on several projects within my role as a Red Meat Technical Officer for Farming Connect in North Wales. Here at Pentre Farm we have been investigating into the factors that can lead to prolapses occurring within the flock. So to start off with, Hugh, can you give us some background to the flock, number of ewes, breed, the rams you use?
Yeah, got up to about 300 breeding ewes. We've got 80 ewe lambs. It's a close flock. Only thing we're buying is rams. Majority of them are lleihau, as you can see. About 80 of them are Suffolk cross lleihau, and the Suffolk are New Zealand type Suffolks. Normally start lambing the middle of February for the Suffolk crosses. And these cleans are at the end of the last week of March into April. Mostly outside if we can, weather permitting. And that's almost on a rotational as well. What I'm trying to do is rather than moving sheep and lambs off the fields, just moving the expected mothers every day.
So prolapses has been an issue here on the farm in recent years. How much of an issue has it been?
Getting pretty close to 10% now. And in some ways, it's because I'm lambing outside. It's becoming more of a problem because it's more difficult catching sheep as well than for lambing inside. So and having to cull that percentage every year is a drain. It's about 3 weeks before lambing every year, you're watching them like hawks, and all of a sudden you see a touch of red, and you know prolapses are starting. That's so right through lambing. I'm checking 3 or 4 times a day, having to catch sheep, so it's a lot of work. I'm not as young as I used to be catching them.
So the prolapse happens because we have a build-up of pressure in the abdomen. So that can be made worse by lots of lambs. It can be made worse if we've got internal fat within the abdomen. And then the point of least resistance is through the vulva where the prolapse happens. So when we first see a prolapse, it's as a ewe lies down and there's more pressure. And it's just pink and soft, and it's not very significant. As she stands up, it pops back in, and we don't need to worry, except it's an indicator that things could get worse. When we get to the stage that the prolapse will not pop back in, or it's recurring, then we need to do something about it, and putting a harness on is the obvious thing to do. People have traditionally used like plastic spoons, which they insert through into the vulva and then tie it on. That can be quite irritant and it can make things worse. Personally, I like a harness the best. And then worst case scenario, a ewe prolapses and she could push all her guts out. I mean, there's often the bladder involved, but it might be all her guts as well, and I'm afraid that's always bad news.
So should the survivors be culled?
Well, so we wouldn't say that a ewe that prolapses is always going to prolapse again, but there is a much higher likelihood that she will prolapse another year. And we know at the vet, someone brings a prolapse in, we stitched in 1 year, comes back the next year, you know, and also we don't really want to breed from that ewe. We don't want her to be in the flock next year because of much higher risk that she will prolapse again. And there is a genetic component.
What have we found so far in terms of ewes data here at Pentre Farm?
So one of the things we've been trying to do is making sure that the ewes in late pregnancy, when they're on this knife edge, we're trying to get food to go through their rumen well. And part of that is getting the balance, energy and protein balance, and the fibre. So actually it helps if they can be eating some good hay rather than just, otherwise they if they're just on grass, it can be a bit gassy, and that can add to the pressure a bit. So giving them hay helps, but they don't necessarily want to go for it when they're on the grass, so there can be a problem there. Actually keeping them fit is really important, and feeding them the hay at the top of the hill, making them work for their food is quite important. The fitter they are, the better their muscles, the better tone, and the less likely they are to prolapse. In the mineral audit, we've got a good profile of what minerals the ewes are getting and when. I'm not as worried about magnesium and calcium levels now we know what's going on with them in late pregnancy. We've obviously still got them living on a steep slope, which is a factor. We know there are some ewes that have quite short tail docked, and that could be a factor. And the body condition scoring has been a really key thing, and that's where we've got a lot of data in. It's nowhere near as simple as we first thought. It's not as simple as the fatter ewes are more likely to prolapse. And actually, we're starting to wonder if it might even be the opposite in some cases, where it's the ewes that are depositing fat within their abdomen that are more likely to prolapse. It's still very early stages, and we're still going through the data, but I would say we've definitely made some progress, but it's not like I can say to Hugh, here's a bottle of stuff and this is going to stop them prolapsing next year. It is never that simple, I'm afraid.
Dros y blynyddoedd, dyn ni wedi gweithio gyda nifer o ffermydd ar hyd ein Rhwydwaith Arddangos ac wedi gweld nifer o wahanol systemau a ffyrdd o wneud pethau. Dyma rai o'r ffermwyr gyda crynodeb o'r pethau maen nhw wedi newid i wneud bywyd yn haws.
Wrth fynd i ddigwyddiadau a bod yn aelod o grwpiau trafod, wedi newid sawl peth yma ar y fferm sy'n gysylltiedig gyda'r system Wyna ni. A'r peth cyntaf, un o'r newidiadau cyntaf wnaethon ni oedd mynd yn groes i gneifio'r defed yn y geia. Cneifio nhw o leia tua 7 wythnos cyn bod nhw'n dod mewn i'r siediau. Mae sawl mantes i gneifio geia. Chi'n monitro condition y ddafad yn rhwydd. Hefyd mae'r defed yn bwyta mwy er mwyn cadw'n gynnes. Ni wedi gweld lot llai o glofni yn y sied ar ôl cneifio. Mae rhywun yn signo yn rhwydd, heb gofio chwilio am y deth, a bod yna wlan yn mynd o ffordd yr oen. Mae'r cwbl yn hwylus iddo fe. A hefyd ar ôl troi allan, mae'r fam yn chwilio am gysgod yn ystod tywydd garw. Ac hefyd mae llai o ddefed yn mynd ar y cefnau yn y Gwanwyn. Felly mae'n sawl mantes o gneifio yn y geia. Un o'r pethau ni wedi newid o fewn yr adeilad a'r sied Wyna yw rhoi y camera mewn. Mae hyn yn galluogi ni monitro'r defed o'r tŷ, ac hefyd ni'n lle monitro nhw o oenman trwy'r ddefnyddio'r ffôn symudol. Mae'r app ar y ffôn symudol yn galluogi ni i reoli'r camera o unrhyw fan. Fel mae pob ffarmwr yn gwybod ac yn deall, mae'r amser cyn bod defed dechrau Wyna, ydy ni'n checio'r sied pan bod ddim rili angen, ond mae'r camera yn galluogi ni checio o'r tŷ de, a gallu gweld os oes unrhyw broblemau. Yr un peth ar ddiwedd y tymor Wyna, a'r un peth yn digwydd amser ni, chi'n mynd allan a 80% o'r amser sy'n mynd yn digwydd yn y sied, ond mae'r ffaith bod ni'n gallu edrych ar hyn o'r tŷ yn safio lot i ni.
Helo, fi di Aled. Dwi ffarmio yma yn Rhywydwaith efo Dylan yn mrawd yn had. Da ni'n ffarmio tua 1,400 o fogied. Da ni Wyna dros 1,000 o'r moged yn y tu mewn sied. Fel rhan o'n cynllun ni drio lleihau ar antibiotics, da ni wedi cychwyn defnyddio y tabledi yma, tabledi antioxidants, a da ni rhoi hein i rwyn ar ei geni. Llynedd wnaethon ni iwsio nhw tro cyntaf, a oedden ni'n teimlo bod nhw wedi gweithio'n dda. Cyn hynny, oedden ni'n dueddol o rhoi tabledi i rwyn a jab o penicillin pan oedden nhw fewn yn y sied, ond llynedd wnaethon ni Wyna 3/4 y rwyn heb orfod rhoi dim byd, dim ond y tabledi yma iddyn nhw. Dim ond 1 flwyddyn da ni wedi defnyddio nhw, ond mae'n dal y ddyddiau cynnar, felly sa ddim garanti bod nhw'n mynd i weithio i ni leni fel wnaethon nhw llynedd, ond gobeithio. Dwi'n teimlo bod hyn y ffordd ymlaen i osgoi gor-ddefnyddio antibiotics. Llynedd dwi'n meddwl wnaethon ni Wyna dros 800 o wyn heb orfod rhoi dim byd arall ond hein iddyn nhw. So, gobeithio gawn ni weld leni.
Hello, Ffermydd Arddangos. We're one of the Farming Connect demo farms down in Brosiectau, South Wales. Just a bit on our lambing system. We're running lambing about 530 ewes this year and running 180 ewe lambs dry. Just a few changes we've done over the last year or so. We've introduced a started sheep shed, so we don't need to use straw under the sheep. And we've also introduced a TMR diet for the feeding of the ewes through our Keenan feeder, so we can weigh and know exactly what our ewes are having to see whether they're receiving the correct diets pre-lambing. We use our own pit silage and we have that analysed and then make it up as and when we need to regarding megajoules of energy closer to lambing. By introducing the TMR system, we've eliminated prolapses the last couple of years. It's where I think it's more comfier diet for the sheep as the compound feed is mixed in with the silage, and it's there in front of them all day, so there's no fighting for the feed, and the ewes seem more content. They're eating about 4.5 to 5 kilos of silage a day per head, so you can work out the ration back from that then. The started shed is, we don't need to buy any straw anymore, so it saved a lot on labour. So it's literally just feed the sheep in the morning and keep an eye on them, but labour is massively reduced. We do move them to our other shed then to lamb down on a bed of straw. It's our second season on the slats. We're very pleased with them. And yeah, hopefully we'll have a good lambing season again.
Hello, my name's James Powell. I farm here at Dollygarn in Llanbadarn in Mid Powys. And if I was to offer any lambing advice or tips, it would be just to farm with the farm and the circumstances that you have. We personally found ourselves 5 or 6 years ago lambing indoors, heavily dependent on overseas lambing staff that could leave us vulnerable in certain situations. We found often inexperienced and needed to be trained on the job, which creates its own labour and time problems. We decided to go outdoor lambing. Obviously an outdoor born lamb in the right environment is quick to thrive. Just a tweak to the breeding, to make sure that they're tough enough. And of course we have reduced our labour inputs and financial inputs significantly. But like I said, farm with the farm that you've got. As you can see, we've got a lot of shelter belts on the farm here, planted by previous generations. Invaluable source of protection against wind and rain and snow and any sort of weather patterns that you might get in early April. Another big thing we've done this last couple of years is we've set stocked, so we don't lamb any more than 50 into one paddock. There'll be 50 sheep in the paddock. 3 weeks before lambing, they'll get to know then all the nooks and crannies and the shady and the shelter spots and the water on the field. It just saves any drifting off, moving between fields with the ewes and lambs, or the ewes in lamb, which can result in some mismothering issues.
Yn ystod Wyna 2020, bu 64 fferm yn gweithio gyda cyswllt ffermio fel rhan o waith grŵp trafod I asesu ansawdd eu colostrum. Cafodd 1,295 o samplau colostrum ei dadansoddi, a dyma Philippa Page I esbonio mwy ni.
I'm Philippa Page from Flock Health. I'm a sheep vet and I've been working with Farming Connect and a number of discussion groups across Wales on a really interesting colostrum project. Colostrum is really important because it's the first substance that the lambs take once they're born. Lambs are born without an immune system. They're completely naive and they get all of their immunity from the colostrum, which is made by the mother. So it's packed full of antibodies in the form of immunoglobulins, and it's also packed full of fats, protein and things that keep them warm and stop them becoming hypothermic. Diseases such as watery mouth and scours can overwhelm a lamb's immune system, and they are more likely to either become very sick and septicemic, and unfortunately we see many lamb losses. So it's crucial that colostrum is a focus of your management when you approach lambing time and you're thinking about your lambing plan. A lamb needs 50 mils per kilogram of good quality colostrum in the first 6 hours of life. It's crucial that they get that colostrum quality into them quickly. In the first 24 hours of life, they need around 200 to 210 mils per kilogram in that first 24-hour period to enable them to form a good functioning immune system and to keep them alive, keep them warm and keep them stood up and continuing to suck. Factors that influence the production of colostrum are very ewe-focused, and they're also very much focused on what she's eating. So the colostrum starts to be produced within the last 3 weeks before lambing. So what's really important is her nutrition. So having the correct balance of energy and protein in the diet, and with an emphasis being on good quality forage. Also very important is the ewe's body condition. We want them to be in optimum body condition so that they've got reserves to mobilise if needed, and that's a really important factor when we approach lambing time in the production of colostrum. With working with the Farming Connect groups, the discussion groups across Wales, we had an opportunity to look at colostrum quality. So many farmers in those groups had on farm with them a Brix refractometer, which is a handheld device which measures colostrum quality really easily. So the farms in the discussion groups over lambing time took samples of their ewes, and they took 10 ewes at the start of lambing and 10 ewes towards the end of lambing, and they sampled the colostrum. And we also recorded, alongside those results, we recorded the ewe body condition score, her tag number, when she lambed, how many lambs she had, whether they were born alive or dead, and how many she had and what her breed was. Throughout the project, we had around nearly 1,300 samples of colostrum readings from 1,300 ewes, which was an amazing number. And it's the biggest study of its kind that we're aware of. So we had some really good information that we could look at there. So we then looked at that and we analysed the data. We also looked and had information on the pre-lambing diet of around half of those farms. So we were able to look at levels of energy and protein and how they were fed and feed space and so on. And we could use that in our analysis when we were looking at the quality of the colostrum and how that related to the factors that we were finding on farm. So what we found from the project was that flock level management factors are actually very important in terms of colostrum quality. So with that, we looked at all the different factors mentioned before in terms of body condition score and nutrition, and things that came out of the project were that silage quality in terms of crude protein is very important. So we're looking at more than 120 grams per kilogram of crude protein in the forage actually gave us a better quality of colostrum on those farms. Also important, which is at flock management level, was the amount of feed space when feeding concentrates. So flocks that were allowing 45 centimetres or above of feed space to feed concentrates found that the colostrum quality on those farms was better. So they're quite interesting and quite useful messages that you can use on farm at a flock level basis. Ewe factors that were very important were poorer colostrum was found in ewes that were thinner and older and actually single bearing ewes. So they showed results that were actually of lower quality colostrum at a ewe level. As we are trying to reduce the use of antibiotics on farm, colostrum is ever more important that we make sure that the quality that we're providing or that our ewes are producing is of the right quality. And also moving forward into this year, there are certain products that we may have been able to use which now are currently not going to be available. So it's really important that we focus on producing that good quality colostrum and making sure that we get the right nutrition into those ewes in those last 3 weeks of lambing time. 3 key points for lambing time are ensuring that the ewes are in optimum body condition for lambing, that their nutrition is of good quality, it's balanced, and we've got good quality forage, and that the lambs receive quickly good quality colostrum as soon as they've been born.
Mae achosion o mastitis o fewn diadell yn gallu chosi problemau mawr a colledion anochel os nad ydyn yn cael ei dal ddigon buan. Yma'r ffarm maes Llanyglwyden, buon yn gweithio ar brosiect i leihau'r achosion o mastitis o fewn y diadell. Yn y man, byddwn nhw'n trafod y prosiect gyda'r milfeddyg Elena Jackson, ond yn gyntaf, wnawn ni drafod gyda'r ffarmwr Ryan Morris.
So I'm Ryan Morris from my Llyn farm here. We keep about 1,000 Texel cross or Beltex cross and mule ewes. We're keeping the mule ewes to produce the Texel cross, to produce fat lambs. We start lambing about the middle of Feb on the ewes that we're keeping. We sponge ewes a little bit earlier for the broken mouth ewes to sell as couples early. They go all the way through to the end of April lambing with hogs. We were having the issue of mastitis here at my farm for a number of years, so I took over from my granddad, and it was getting worse and worse each year, keeping Texel cross ewes, but the mastitis was getting worse. We were having, I think the last year before we started this project, where there was about, out of 800-900 ewes, there was 110, 120 ewes going down with mastitis. They were from January right up until December. We were finding them all year round. So like February, March, April time when we were lambing, we were finding a majority of them, but then we were still finding some October, November time that had gone hard in one quarter. So the replacement cost each year was costing too much, buying these Texel cross yearlings, and then they were having mastitis, sending them as culls. Yeah, it was just getting too much. So we took this trial of this Vimco vaccine to try and reduce the mastitis on the farm. So we trialled that here to see if it had, a better impact to get the mastitis down. We also changed a lot of other factors on farm, so we put a few more sheds up to house, more housing for the ewes, so more space. We fluked the ewes before they come in to if that had an impact on colostrum and milk-wise. We've started lambing more ewe lambs and less yearlings, so they're having a lamb as ewe lambs, so they're not having too much stress and impact on them as yearlings with 2 lambs outside, to see if that was impacting at all. So we've also changed the nutrition, so we've started feeding them a little bit heavier outside, a bit less before they lamb, a bit heavier outside, and trying to spread them on the fields a little bit lighter so they've got more grass. Liming of the sheds as well, so liming pens more to keep the bacteria and the bugs down. So that's why with the nutrition we've gone to blood testing ewes to see their protein levels and energy levels, to just check that they're having the right feed and the right molasses and all, and the right amount of haylage before they lamb, as otherwise we're just guessing how we feed them each year. So we've gone to blood testing them, check their levels so we can monitor how much cake they're having.
So mastitis in ewes, it's caused by several bacteria, but 2 main bacteria that cause it is your Mannheimia and your Staph aureus. Both are found in the environment on a sheep farm. Mastitis in ewes can be 2 forms really, acute and chronic. So most farmers will either find a ewe after lambing, she's got lambs at foot that look hollow, and when you get to the sheep she seems a bit lame and it's gone into a back leg, she's a bit septic, so they've got to the point where it's acute and they're septic and ill. The other form is when you come to weaning the ewes, you're feeling the bags and you're finding hard lumps, so that would be your chronic form. The main risk factor for you getting mastitis is teat damage, and so you have to look at the factors what can influence that. So if you've got lambs that are suckling hard, because the ewe hasn't got enough milk or she can't produce enough milk, so your nutrition and your breeder's got to come into that. Other things which you can get teat damage is weather, so getting chapped bags, and then diseases like ORF that can also increase your risk. Other factors is hygiene around lambing, so if it's the udder's in a dirty environment, it's more likely to pick up bacteria and that can get in the teat canal and cause an infection. Other risk factors, using poor body condition score, they tend not to be milking as well, and therefore you can see more mastitis because the lambs are pulling harder. But it all draws back to how well they're milking and the nutrition of the ewe in order to provide enough milk for the lambs. Ryan's done a really good job at trying to reduce his level of mastitis. He's improved the stocking density, so having fewer ewes in the lambing area before they start to lamb. Hopefully that will keep the burden of pathogens down. He's increased the number of individual pens, so as soon as that ewe's lambed, it's been moved out of that lambing pen. He's improving the nutrition of the ewes as they go out. So a lot of people concentrate on the nutrition pre-lambing, and a lot of people get that bang on, but when they go out, they just assume the ewe can get on with it. And actually their requirements nutritionally increase massively when they start lactating. So Ryan's done a really good job of feeding harder after they've gone out. Hygiene as well, lots of lime used and plenty of fresh bedding under the ewes to keep the environment as clean as possible. For treatment of acute mastitis, you want an antibiotic injection and an anti-inflammatory. For chronic cases of mastitis where you find ewes with hard lumps and bumps in their bag, the best thing with that is to cool them out. The issue with the abscesses in the bag, which are the bumps you're feeling, is that they can shed the bacteria back into the environment, meaning that they're a constant source potentially of infection for other ewes. So if you find anything with a hard quarter or a bad bag, she needs to go. Especially the acute cases, if you catch them early and they don't die, you need to mark them so they are culled out, even if when it comes to checking their bags, the bags feel normal. So there was 500 twin bearing ewes, half of which were vaccinated and half were left unvaccinated. Everything else was kept the same. The idea being to see whether the vaccine would reduce the rates of mastitis. After they turned out, he monitored rainfall and temperature, and then Ryan was recording any cases of mastitis. If he could catch the ewe and take a milk sample off it, we sent them off for culture. Afterwards, we did all the data. Basically, out of the 500 that we vaccinated, roughly, there was 30 with mastitis. So going from a 10% incident rates of mastitis, it was left at 6.8. So it did reduce the rate. How much of that was due to other factors like increasing the space in the lambing shed and the hygiene and the nutrition, it's hard to pull that out.
A dyna ni am y rhaglen yma, a gobeithio gowch chi hefyd Wyna llwyddiannus. Os hoffech chi glywed unrhyw beth mwy am yr hyn sydd wedi cael ei drafod yn ein rhaglen ni heddiw, cofiwch gysylltu gyda'ch swyddog datblygu lleol neu ffonio yr rhif ffôn canolog.